problems, be sure to check them out. And also Brand for Less. And the name speaks for itself, Brand for Less. You can pick up all the name brand shoes, clothing, there at Brand for Less. They are situated also here on High Street. So now, let me get to our distinguished guest here, who is none other than Dr. Dwayne Barber-Thwaites. And first of all, welcome to Talking Sports.
It's a pleasure to be here with Mervyn Richards. And honestly, I just had some Blue Mountain water. And I used to bank at the Penny Bank. I don't know if you remember ACB.
Oh, yes. They were situated in Newgate Street.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm actually one of the shareholders, luckily for me. When my dad gave me 25 cents, I took it down to ACB and they opened up an account and deposited that back in the day. So it has flourished for me, and the bank, I'm so happy to know that they've flourished and done. Hutchison have been helping us out. The Charles Group of Company has promised us a couple of little things here and there, and of course plumbing and hardware. Mr. Ryan is a great man. He's
No, it's not Ryan. This is electrical and plumbing.
Oh, electrical and plumbing.
Yes,
Okay.
on the Potter's Main Road.
Oh, yes. Potter's Main Road. That's where my dad lives too. So, I still have some association with that. But it's a pleasure to be here to talk a little bit about horse racing. I wish we were talking about soccer.
You'll be right up my street. But tell me, Doc, how did you first become involved in horse racing?
Yeah, I've asked to stay in my lane before, but I started way back when I graduated from residency. I was a general surgeon, and my daughter was interested in buying a pony, and she said, "I want a pony." I said, so I went and I spoke with this guy who had a few ponies. They said, Doc, it's difficult to raise a pony. They usually die easily. Why don't you just get a racehorse, name it off for your daughter, and then you could watch it and it can do something for you, make some money for you, so I could put in the penny bank. And so I went ahead, I bought the horse, and the first horse I bought was an animal by the name of K-Sarah, and Kibian, my daughter's name, and the horse's name was Sarah. So that's how I started off in racing, and that was a while back. This is maybe 25 years ago, and that's been my lane ever since then.
Fantastic. Now, we've been joined by the president of the Antigua Barbuda Turf Club, none other than Mr. Neil Cochran. Welcome, Neil, to Talking Sports.
Good to be here, gentlemen. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I see you like American Airlines. You're really on time.
Well, it's always better to be late than to be the late. and Doc will tell you that.
I'm in full agreement.
Well, yes. So, Neil, how is the association going? And you can tell me with the pandemic, how has it affected you?
Oh, well, it has affected us significantly because the association is as active as the sport, and the sport has been totally inactive for some time now. Truth be told, we were inactive a little bit before the pandemic, but we were just about getting ready to race, and then there came the pandemic. So right now it's been way over a year and a half, maybe 2 years, going on 2 years that we haven't raced at Casada Garden. So, people become a little despondent. People want to race, people want action, and then when there's no action, then they begin to kind of lose their focus and lose their interest to some extent. And I believe that's the way it is across the board with most organizations. But we're coming.
We're making moves. And
we're making strides.
I think with the downtime, we were able to regroup, and we're making some movements in terms of development for the track itself. Me and my president have been doing it's been a difficult road. It's a hard road, but we have been able to acquire some things which are going to make racing a little bit different. You have to come back, Mervyn. You
come back strong.
Come back strong with force. I understand.
So we just had a setback for a big comeback.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
But tell us about some of those plans.
We're going to be having a new racing surface and a new racing shape. So we're going to relay the racetrack And the shape as it is now, which is more, they say egg-shaped, it's not going to be like that anymore. It's going to be more of an international shape, how you see those tracks look overseas. So we're working with a designer out of California, a racetrack designer, consultant. He has been to Antigua and looked at the lay of the land and been able to do all the studies that were necessary to be able to assist us in getting to that new surface and getting into that new shape. And with the new shape will come new rails. For the first time, we're going to go to a more professional with the rails, moving away from the traditional wood. For most of the track is going to be PVC. And so we got a container of rails sitting at the track, coming from China. We had them made in China, and they came down to Antigua. We have a professional racetrack conditioner. In Antigua, we call it a harrow, but it's a 3-in-1 piece of equipment, a very, very dynamic piece of equipment. So it rips, it rolls, it rakes, it's something that really will keep the surface just like how you see it internationally. Today, we were able to drop at FedEx some samples of our sand and our clay soil, which will go to California. And that's going to be tested in the labs in California for the same gentleman who we're working with. There's a lab in California that's going to be looking at the soil, and then they will give us the best combination, 80-20, 70-30, because the clay has to bind the soil together. If it's the sand alone, the sand will have too much give, and which is not going to be good for the horses in terms of running. They're not going to have enough traction from that. So what's going to happen now is we'll know professionally this is the way to go. We're going to have the sand raked to a particular dynamic. So it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be an international standard track when it's all over. That's just the first phase of it all. Like Doc has said, and I have to give big kudos to Doc for really showing the energy and the enthusiasm and interest, especially in these times, for us to go out and knock on every door.
Yes,
to try and find support.
Kudos to Neil too. We've worked well together.
Yeah, we've done a good job.
It's a good team. One of the things also we're trying to do is the drainage. We're going to set up proper drainage so that even if it rains,
no longer
Doesn't stop the show.
it doesn't stop the show. We could still do some racing. We've had problems with that in the past.
Yes.
We've had to stop races, and you've already invested all this time and all the energy into getting your horse prepared, and then you have to, oh boy, the rain comes.
Yeah.
You gotta change. So now, and usually it's at the last minute. You have jockeys, you have all kind of things going on, and it's the last minute. So now we should be able to run in with a little bit of bad weather, not too bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but those things that you outlined, I think it's going to cost quite a bit, isn't it?
And that's why we've been working hard and knocking in the doors and trying to raise the funds in order to do so.
Maybe now this is a forum that you
we
could just appeal to
we've been
persons
begging.
out there.
You like to beg? What you want to beg us?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of racing enthusiasts, and our coffers, without running, is empty. While running, we're empty. Without running, it was so empty. So of course, we'll be happy to take donations from anyone who's interested. It's not too small. Whatever is given is appreciated. It takes a lot of money to get this done. We have the engineers who are going to be working on the project. That's going to cost us a little bit of money as well. We got to bring the sand over, purchase and bring the sand over from Barbuda. We got to truck that sand from High Point down to the track. We got to get the soil. That's going to probably be from Big Creek. We got to bring that to the track, and of course the sifting of the sand also is going to cost us some money. So we are more than happy for any contributions. What I like in terms of what we have done this time in raising the funds and to let people understand how serious we are in terms of accountability. Doc was able to speak with Grant Thornton, and we thank them for working with us. So the contributions go to
Straight to Grant Thornton.
Straight to the account.
So
Grant Thornton.
we don't touch the money.
Right. The disbursements are made from them.
And they do all the payments.
All this, what it will do for Antigua?
Yeah, no,
Tell us what you know,
Oh, well, first and foremost, horse racing actually employs the unemployable. They're persons whom have not completed school. They're persons whom this is just their way of life. You know, it's a labor of love. And we are able to employ for each horse. You need to have at least one person taking care of a horse. So if you have 40 horses, at the end of the day, people, if you go to two, one, but more than 2 horses, you gotta have another person. So you have the grooms, you have the blacksmiths, you have the jockeys, you have the exercise jockeys, right? You have the persons who cut your grass and your hay for you. Then when you go from that, you have the feed shops. The horses have to eat. You have your tack shop, so that's where you can go and get all of your grooming supplies, your health supplies, and stuff like that, both external and internal. So you have your veterinarians. These are persons. Whenever things come into the port, you know, it's going to be a little bit for the government as well. And so horse racing has a big impact, and the most significant impact would be the vendors.
Yes.
The vendors have been, you know, crying out for racing because when they come there, they turn over some money. So that is something important. What are they turning over? When you have your products, you have your Blue Mountain, you have your Pine Hill, you have all the different drinks, beverages, and food, you know, and all the food, of course, that they sell there. So again, it hits some distributors making money. Yeah. So it impacts the entire spectrum, the full ambit of the economy.
And don't forget our toilets, the plumbing, E&F.
That's right. Exactly.
We do
have to do all of that. I mean, when we operate in a race, you have security people, you have people at the gates that pick up front monies. We have the guys that weigh in persons. We have track stewards. All of these persons are persons that we try to give some form of stipend. And so, yes, it takes quite a bit for us to operate. So we are looking forward to new days, and of course, new revenues. And of course, one of the things that we were really challenged with over the years, horse racing was, I believe, more of just a bragging rights sort of sport. So the financial base that was established for horse racing was never a strong one. There was basic pari-mutuel betting at the track way back in the day, and then that kind of just tapered off. And we have not been really operated with any kind of gaming. And for horse racing to thrive, for horse racing to seriously be impactful, for the owners to get better prize monies, for the operation to have an injection of cash so you can pay your operating costs, we have to have gaming. So the new model that is being put together does have taken into consideration having gaming as part of the financial model. So that is also very critical for us.
What kind of support you think government can lend in this?
Well, like every other sport, the one thing that the government does do is give us waivers of duties and taxes. But if you don't have money to buy the things to bring in, then the waiver of duties and taxes don't make no sense. You know, so being critical. I think most, and you're part of the government setup and in the Ministry of Sports. I don't think enough funding is really channeled to the other sports. I can't speak for cricket, but I know for the other sports, right, in Antigua, there needs to be a greater injection of cash. In most countries worldwide, in the Caribbean, if we just stick us close to home, in the Caribbean, 90% of the tracks are built by government. Then they're maintained by the associations. In Antigua, it's a totally different situation.
And Mervyn, one of the things you got to understand, sporting in, especially for horse racing, and most of the other countries, mostly the elites are the ones that do horse racing. But back in the day of Moody Stewart and Papa Bird changed totally all of that for locals. He took away the elitism from the racing, and he actually went to cabinet and stopped them. There was some argument between
trying to race on
a day, Labor Day, and he said, no, poor people need to be at the races. So he blocked them, and he set up another date where the poor people in Antigua can go back to racing, and that's how we took over, and this is why we are. But we got to look at things like off-track betting.
Yeah.
I mean, and what you're going to be looking at if we get into that kind of a network, you could be watching a race from Santa Anita, and then they just flip over to a race going on in Antigua, and you know, people all over the world start putting some money in, so we can make revenue from all of those kind of things. That can also occur if we set up the system inappropriately. Neil has been negotiating with a couple of companies, and I think we're going to be successful, but we have to start off with the basic things, and this is what we're trying to do right now, is get that basic thing and roll. So I mean, I must say to the people out there, anybody who wants to contribute, we're not looking big money. The small money will do, because that has helped us out a lot to get those rails out of China. It was not cheap. I mean, it's a big 40-foot container come down with all kind of stuff, and getting the horror here was not cheap at all. So we went through a lot during the COVID time, and then asking money for during COVID time was just like, no. Look, I just begged some money a while ago, and about tell me, boss, with COVID things rough. You understand? All now we're still looking, you know what I mean? But one of the things I must say, we got to look at the U.S., look at the Kentucky Derby. People are getting vaccinated and going out and going to the horse racing. I always tell the people this. Somebody was saying the other day on a talk show that, oh, they don't vaccinate no animal. What they want to vaccinate our humans for? But all our animals have to be vaccinated. They have to be vaccinated. On every 6 months, we have to give them vaccines. You're going to try and prevent them from getting disease. You can't get them, you know. And if you're going to travel with your horses, you got to take them to different countries. You can't carry them over there with disease. This is where vaccination comes in, and that's how it helps us.
Like you mentioned about the father of the nation, how we brought it down to poor people, really. But it's a very expensive sport, isn't it?
It is. It is.
I mean, you know.
And that's a big difference. Look, me and Neil have been to Barbados to do the racing, and we could see the difference. We see the differences. So I don't know if we're lucky or unlucky, but whatever it is, we have the people with the true roots and heart for horse racing involved, and they're doing it. They're not making much money from it, but we are doing it, and we have been successful. Neil can give you all the reports of how good we have been in the past, and racing in Barbados. We even had jockeys from Antigua who've gone to Barbados and become international jockeys down there. Won big races down there. We have grooms. We have people who have gone that side.
You care to name some of those
Eustace Joseph.
Eustace Joseph
is one of the biggest guys. He's from Casada Gardens, Clay Hall, in that area. You know,
and we had one of the famous jockey Gums. One of the Gums guys was.
I don't remember which one of the Gums, but
was
we
a
have
big jockey down there.
Yeah, we used to have. Listen, way back in the day, there used to be a
The name
Series X.
Gums.
Yeah, of course, they're
close
synonymous with racing.
Yeah,
Johnny and the rest of the
You know a few
family.
of them Gums boys.
Oh, yeah.
They're not that big of people.
George know them too.
From trainers, owners to flagmen, Gums. You know, they have played their role in horse racing, of course.
Yeah.
But I was saying to you that we used to have a serious exchange of race horses between the islands, racing in Guadeloupe, racing in Trinidad, racing in Barbados, you know, racing in St. Kitts. There used to be a serious exchange of race horses in between the islands, so it was something really big. Antiguan bred horses have gone down to Barbados and won big races. So, you know, Dennis Foster, who is he's from Barbados, but he came to Antigua. I think he was working for catering at one of those companies back then, and so he actually got into the horse racing. That was when you had people like Lee Westcott and these guys around, and he got into the racing here. And when he was ready to go back over, he went back with his horses. Jubilee, which was one of the horses bred for Lee Westcott, she went over as well, and we had a good time. We've had good winners over in Barbados. Just said within the last 3 decades, 4 decades really, that kind of just tapered off. We're looking to do it again. The whole entire racing, there was a Caribbean Racing Association, and we went in the 80s, myself and Kenny Samuel, who was the president then, we went to Barbados to attend the races, but and to the meeting. So it's like, it's a big race weekend, and you have the meeting of all of the presidents of the associations throughout the region, and they will talk about policy and different things. But that too kind of fell apart. So it's not a very active association at the moment. But Barbados, you can say is like the Mecca. They have the biggest race, most popular race on the annual calendar
in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean,
okay. You're looking at the Gold Cup.
Yeah, so we were able to do that.
And look at Saint Lucia. Saint Lucia has really stepped out, and they're trying to get ahead of Antigua right now.
How do you get the horses to the event? To the races?
Fly. You gotta fly them over.
Fly.
Wow, and that must.
Oh yeah, it costs a bit, but at the end of the day, like any person in sports, you want to advance. You don't want to just stay at one particular level.
Yeah, but you
don't want
want
the challenge to be the best and to show the best. Plus, Antigua, right? I got to pay respect to Baba for the efforts that he made in that regard. We pushed like hell to make sure that the horses were eligible to go and race. They gave us a few little challenges, but we know the rule book just like they know the rule book, and so we were able to go and get our horses. The horses were owned by Dr. Twaits, and we were able to get them over there. We did have some challenges because the same issue of vaccination and medication. They gave us some problems.
And it was so funny.
See, they see us as we don't have a quarantine here, and they see us as a small island when it comes to horse racing. So they treated us with that kind of a temperament. Very small island-ish. They had the horses stay off the track. Couldn't exercise on the track. They only got in 2 days of exercise on the track.
Absolutely.
And then they were vaccinated. When a horse gets vaccine, you have a level of weakness that happens.
Just like humans.
Just like humans.
Same
it was
thing.
Very, very sad that they had to go through that process. And so the horses lost their edge, so to speak. And Barbados, as nice as it is, the racetrack itself is not a beautiful racetrack.
Yeah, it's not.
The racetrack itself has some turns, and they run in the opposite direction to us. So the horses had to try and adjust to that. So your lead leg changes. If you're running in this direction, you understand, your lead leg is in one way. If you're running that direction, it's in the next direction. So the horses didn't get enough time. It was quite an experience.
How much time do you think you need, to get acclimatized?
A month.
To get
a month.
Most people tell you a month.
You go for a month. The reason why you're going to go for a month is if it was a situation that they're running in the same direction as we normally run, you could go in there in 2 weeks, and you're good. But because they're running in a different direction, you want to go there so you can get one practice race in. Absolutely. And so you need at least a month to get in there. Okay, and that's what the difference is. And they run on grass. We run on dirt, sand, right?
Big difference.
Right.
Again.
Very big difference too.
Yeah.
And so that's something that the horses just had to get accustomed to, because worldwide, most racetracks run in the same direction as we run in Antigua.
Okay.
In Barbados is different. So that's a challenge for us as well.
It's a big challenge.
And let me tell you, you think that people talk about racing, people talk about officiating and so on, and home court advantage, they need to kill out.
Trust me. Barbados is gay, right?
Oh my gosh.
Down there are for them.
Yeah,
you can't come in for them there.
I'm telling you, I saw them cut across.
Doc, your stock, are they local or you got them from overseas?
Well, what we've been doing, and I'm glad you asked that question, we've been trying to get local bred back into the racing, and so most of us have had animals. Most of us now have 1 or 2 local bred animals to run, and I get my horses are coming out of Lake. George Lake and them stables. I have 1 local ready and rearing to go. I'm waiting for the local race, and I think that aspect of the racing in Antigua is going to pick up. We are now getting together a stud book and we're trying to get all of these ratified by the International Association. So we're gonna know the genealogy of our horses, like who is the mother, who is the father. We have to put all of that together in order to get our horse registered and get their names out there. They gotta get their birth certificate. There's a lot of little things that go into it that most people don't know. Birth certificate, you gotta get your tattoo and your number. And you know, those are the things that allow your horse to be an international horse and to travel out. So we do have that aspect of it, which we are working on also. Neil we could tell you a little bit more, but we are trying to get this into an international thing, and we're trying to get local horse bred in Antigua, because we have some good caliber horses here in Antigua, and people would not believe the type of animals we have. Like my horse that passed away, Baba was Justified, brother, and Justified was a Triple Crown winner. I have one animals. These are my international horses. I have one coming off of Midshipman and one coming off of Union Rags, and these are horses that have won big races. And so these bloodlines that I have here are just incredible. And so my international horses, I have 2 of them, and I have a local bred, which I'm going to be using to whip Neil's ass.
but you know, Emma, I think you would like it. Maybe we would have to have one for you. It's called a stud book. What he's been telling you about, they call it a stud book. Yeah, so that stud book basically will capture the pedigree of every horse.
How one breeds a racehorse?
How do you breed a racehorse?
When they say if you know, from what Doc was just saying,
take the horse and let him follow Neil around.
Oh, you
Neil will tell you.
I mean, in the US or internationally, it's very
the training is
scientific.
Very important, it's scientific.
In terms of the breeding, the pedigree of the stallion and the pedigree of the mare is studied significantly. That's why you have that stud book that you can go in the stud book and you can look and see who the parents for the mare that you're looking to cover, and that's what they call it. So Emma, I know you understand covering.
So it's a lot of data. You have to look through a lot of data.
Yeah, and it's computerized now. Everything is computer generated now.
Your birth certificate tells you all of that.
Everything about
Most
you.
of the animals that we have here would have a birth certificate.
Family tree, man. It's all about your family
tree. And then
tree.
you wait for the breeding season. There is an international breeding time.
Between February to May.
To May is where you have to. So you look for your animal, and they smell, and they get when a horse is in heat.
They call it in heat.
And then all you do, you carry a stallion around.
You understand, Mervyn?
But you know, like in the US, these the stud fees are very expensive. You pay $100,000, $200,000 to have one of the
$1
million for a stud.
$100,000 is a small one
to cover your horse.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's for live foal, so they got live foal. So the foal has to actually be born and alive. For that $1 million or $100,000 or $50,000 to be paid. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what your value is for a live foal.
We might be able to get something.
But you guys have a lot of fun, eh? When I say, I mean, I don't think you make.
That's how we do it.
You don't kind of make the money that you invest in it
at all.
At all. But I mean, that will come, I suppose. Once you set up properly.
When you hear you not nail or good lick, right? You can go home and smile until next race. And
I'm just waiting.
When Neil see you, he just hide here. We just love to see that. I never put a lick in penny, right? And he passed me straight. Mr. Boss, what happened? You're custom for pass. Somebody even look for me. He put on his jacket and he just moved straight. Oh, and don't forget you have he part the slide, Jay. Oh, like his sidekick. Chief Rocker Stables. Chief Rocker Stables. My stable is God Grace, but when you hear put some lick on Chief Rocker. I mean, look, you don't need to do nothing else, look. You just go home and smile.
No, man, we can have a good time. It's picnic.
All the way to the bank or what?
That too. That too, man. But we have, I mean, we're looking forward, once we restart with all that Neil and I have been saying about getting that track ready, we're going to take off.
Yeah.
We're going to take off. And
Sounds
you know, some assistance would be great if we can get
that's
that.
just 1/3 of the journey.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, your members in the association may punish you for life by making you president once you get this thing off. Eh?
Well, I'm really, honestly, I'm looking to take a break and take a different seat, watch it from a different perspective. I've been president since 2009, and when I started, there was a whole year before we raced. So I understand and been through this. We had to relay the racetrack and do the same thing. We rail the track, but we did it as more like guesswork, and we had a team of persons dealing with it. But the guys were really more about building. They were professionals in building road, not in building racetrack. You understand? But now we have someone who's really on
It's a
top
big
of the
difference.
game, build tracks worldwide. You know what I mean? For the richest of the richest. And now we probably be the poorest people that he working for.
Absolutely. And that is so true. That is so
He
true.
wants to see.
But he
He
loves
says he
that
wants
too.
to see a gem in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is what he's looking
Well,
for.
we
here.
are a gem in
We
the
are a
Caribbean.
gem, but a racetrack. He wants it to be in the gem of the Caribbean. And so when we finish with the first phase of the racetrack itself, then you got the new stables and so on, and the stable area to deal with, and then we have the public facility, seating facility to deal with. So you know,
The
it's
stands,
the
we have-
journey. We are very far off from having completed the journey, but we know that the first phase is going to inject the type of energy that
That's what we want.
is required. And I mean, I said, you know, if I were to just say, okay, let me give up this presidency, I honestly believe that that the energy that we have here, and the chemistry that Doc and I have, would have been lost. So I wanted to make sure that if I step away, it's on a very solid footing.
Well,
very solid footing.
Make sure you
And
put it
I'm-
in good hands.
I'm saying to him, you stay there with the footing, boss.
Look, we're just going to take a little break just to big up our sponsors, the persons and the companies that have made this show, Talking Sports, possible. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the track itself. And I know there were some issues as it relates to Tire Master, and you can tell me how that is afterwards. But just to let our viewers know that Talking Sport is made possible by ACB Caribbean, and they are situated on Thames and St. Mary Streets, and there's also a branch here on High Street by Blue Mountain Waters, the mega distributors, and they are situated on the American Road. Cecil Charles Group of Companies through its pharmacy, Seco, for all your medical needs, and Hutchison, the agents for Pine Hill Juice, and they are situated on Factory Road. And we just need to let you know that the funeral for Cuthbert Ginger David is Thursday on May the 3rd at the Potters Moravian Church at 10 a.m. in the morning. And our condolences goes out to his family. And I've worked with Ginger for quite a long while in the Ministry of Sports, where he was very helpful in preparing cricket pitches and stuff like that. And I know Parish League cricket will also miss him. So remember, the funeral for Cuthbert Ginger David will be on Thursday, June 3rd at the Potters Moravian Church at 10 a.m. Now, Neil, how are things now with as it relates with Tire Master about the track? Is everything
No, based
in your
upon
hands now?
definitely based upon the decision of the courts. We won all three legal matters in relation to Carlton Lewis thus far. There was an injunctive release case, right? And then we won the fixed date claim. So we are the rightful owners of the Casada Gardens racetrack. We're in occupation, and what we need to do now is to get the official lease from the government so that we can continue along in the right direction. And it took a few years, but we knew that a lot of years, but we knew that we were the rightful owners. You know, this is something going back to the 60s. And the Moody Stewart and his
the syndicate.
people, the syndicate, they're the ones who turned it over to the government and turned it over
Papa
to
Bird
us.
made sure they did, and he did
know,
that.
so-
It was like they met in cabinet. It was a cabinet decision at that point in
Yeah.
time, and that gave the rights to the poor
us,
people of
yeah.
Antigua. And you know, it's just disgusting that somebody would want to take these from our people. You know. The Antiguans and all these, you know what I mean? It's like the bureaucracy all over again, just coming in and trying to just swindle the poor people out of it. I mean, after we worked so hard during slavery and come through, syndicate, sugar mill, sugar factory, all them kind of things that we don't go through. And
Yeah.
somebody was want to come and just swoop that after the big bastard done get out or something, you know what I mean? The Papa Bird just said, well, this is for poor people. This racing is for the poor people.
Yep.
And that's what he said. And it was a cabinet decision that they're going to run on that day. We're going to give them that area. And it's not like we decided to walk in and take it away from the bureaucracy, from the syndicate. It was given to us. It was a decision.
Simple.
You know, poor people, prop some of them, all them people, rich people that go to England and come back and want to take over people. You know, them some of them are right.
Who's Marjorie Jr. said the Pirates coming again?
Yeah, well, it looks so, right?
What a shame.
Neil, now in football and
Football.
in cricket, it's clubs and so make up your membership.
Yeah.
Your membership are individuals?
Yes, we have individual members.
Or they come
no,
from-
individual, not stables.
Not stables,
Individual members make up the organization.
Okay. Is any time in the future it will change, or you think that's the?
No, I think
that's the
I
norm?
think it's a
okay.
reasonable structure. So I don't see that there's a need for change as it relates to stables as opposed to individuals.
Right.
The individuals own stables anyway.
That's
so
right.
at the end of the day, it's the same. It's one and the same. And I think it's there is need for some areas of the Constitution to be updated, but as it relates to membership and who has eligibility for being a member, it's all. I think it will always be individuals, and you know, to become a member, you have to first be nominated by someone as a member, and then you have to go into a vetting process, and that process you can either be accepted or not. That is one part of the Constitution.
Financial paying members.
Yes, yeah, it's I think $200 for membership per year, and that entitles a person to free access on race days to the grounds for himself and a companion.
And companion.
So I mean, I think it's pretty friendly in terms of the pricing, membership fee, and well, we want to strengthen all areas. all
That's per
aspects.
year, 200
Per year.
per year. Huh?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. But there are lots of areas for improvements. Not just the physical structure and the physical plant, but yeah, the administration. At the end of the day, it would be good for us to have an administrative arm similar to that in Barbados, where you have a paid administration who's there working on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that to happen, though,
Yeah,
you have to generate the
Treasury,
finance.
people doing the work, but you see, they get the finance so they can operate.
Exactly,
Like that.
so
You
we have to
a
have that
secretary, you
finance.
have a treasurer, and these are people being paid to do all the biddings, and so
everything.
Neil can just chill out,
Run the
and-
operation.
and just run the operation.
Yeah, the membership just comes in. The membership is like a board of directors, right? So you have a board of directors that are appointed from the membership, and then they're the ones who will meet with the administrative arm, and you set the agenda, and then the administrative arm will carry through the agenda, and that is how it basically
You have
goes.
a turnaround in terms of finances that can help out each and every individual. And,
Yeah.
and we get the
What-
system together.
One thing I can tell you is the Barbados Turf Club was similar to us. They were challenged, they were financially fragile, and the things were really not going in their direction.
Yep.
And then up came Caribbean banknotes and the lottery,
yeah.
the Barbados lottery, and that lottery,
sponsorship. They got
that,
good
that
sponsorship.
lottery, they own the lottery. The lottery in Barbados was started under the Barbados Turf Club, and they had all of the funding from the lottery that turned around the industry in Barbados. So there are lots of incentives that are given for locally bred horses and, and the like. But in Barbados, government taxes you on importation of horses. So I have to give kudos to our government for that, because whilst there hasn't been much cash injection, they have made way for us to be life a little easier as a result of not giving us the taxes. But the Barbados, the lottery is what saved horse racing in Barbados.
The lottery saves a lot of.
Then,
yeah,
and then the Cricket Association decided to bring in a lottery as well. So there were 2 lotteries running in Barbados, and the government realized that the market was just not there to sustain 2 lotteries. So the government came in and decided that they were going to reduce certain taxes and so on. If you have 1 lottery and 1/3 goes to the cricket, 1/3 or whatever goes to the majority share goes to cricket and horse racing, and the remainder goes to all sports. Similar to, I tell you what, you probably don't even know. No, when that lottery thing was happening in Barbados, I was in the 1980s. Myself and Mr. Samuel went to Barbados, and we went. I asked them to come and assist us. At that time, they had the money through the lottery, and they came. They sent down their chief's general secretary and the president came to Antigua, watched the race day, and they were willing to come, but they said we needed to get the lottery. If the government approves the lottery, then we will come and deal with the racing for you. At that time, there was no lottery in Antigua. We met with Bernard Gardner, the turf club, myself, and I met with Bernard Gardner in relation to the lottery. And the proposition, we wanted to run the lottery just like what's happening in Barbados. And at the end of the day, what happened? It didn't happen for us, but it was Bob Washington. They're the ones who ended up running the lottery, and some aspect of it was supposed to go to sports. I don't know how it works. I think it's still in place, but I don't know how it works.
I was a part of that. When I say a part of that, I know that
you were with Bob Washington?
No. But I do know that a certain amount of monies was supposed to be coming to sports, and I think some bright person decided that to employ, coming up an election time, was to employ people and pay them from the lottery, instead of the money going towards sports. And I think it took some time. The money went from say like 150,000 a month, right, down to 100. Then it went to 70. Then it went to 50, and then it went months
35.
Then nothing came, and so some of the employees who were being paid from the lottery, well, they had to put them on the consolidated fund now that was coming out of the treasury. So, and that was the end of that, because we asked for that document to state that we were supposed to get this amount per month, to hold and liable, and said, well, look, you haven't given us for X amount of months, and the figure keep dropping, from the 150 down, and that I think was the end of it. But I thought it was a brilliant idea at that particular time.
So
that's the genesis of it.
It was Neil's idea.
Yeah, it was a genesis. We were trying to bring it from Barbados and let it roll here. And everything was happening behind the scenes, and I mean, at that time we weren't in the upper echelon, so we just they clean bowl us.
But I tell you a little story too. This is a little side thing, I was coming down Old Palm Road, and there was this rental car, this rental, and the guy threw a banana peel outside, and then cut across by Coronation Road,
yeah.
The one with the prison there?
Yeah, Coronation Road.
So I drove right behind him, and blowing my horn like if I was a police, in civilian clothes. So I pulled over the side and I says, look, you just lit a while ago there, man, That's $500 on the spot, And the guy was going in his pocket to pay me, right? Right? And he says, look, No. But the next time this happens, right, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I didn't see that guy until about maybe 3 months after, right, when I was invited to go down to the multipurpose center because we had a lotto winner, lottery winner. I think it was the girl Philip. There was a girl Philip who I think who had won the lotto. So they asked me now in sport to come and say a few words of what the lotto has done for sports.
Right.
While I sitting down there, the guy who pulled over was sitting right next to me. It was Bob Washington's son.
No.
So I said, if I take no money now, you know, I mean, you can say, hey, you're the guy that raped me.
But I'm glad you were doing your civic duty.
Oh, that's right.
Stop littering.
That's right.
Stop littering, you know.
That's right.
What else are
What
you
do you remember,
stopping?
you know? But tell me something now. You have winners. I mean, no one go to, you know, if I go to a horse race
He has a few.
and I see a horse, go to
His
the
list
track,
not that long,
You know, that's
but,
not.
yeah.
I'm not gonna bet on the horse.
Oh,
the,
well.
the horse has got to be.
Oh, yeah?
You know, the what do you call it? The adrenaline inside, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Flowing, you know what I mean? So, you have winners. You have winners. How many winners?
Too many winners,
How
Neil.
many? What about you, Neil?
Too many winners.
Listen to me. If you really want,
No.
to get a sure bet,
If you
if you want a sure bet,
before Phyllis
Chief Rocket Stables. If you want a sure bet, it's Chief Rocket Stables. Trust me.
God grace.
You understand me?
Grace.
Trust me.
What's the horse that your money's on?
Skumpum. How much wins Skumpum? Skumpum was undefeated for 7 straight races. Don't listen
Yeah.
to this. 7 straight
Yeah, I
races.
think, but you're asking who beat him.
Well, I think Scoopo might have had a bad day.
7 straight races, boss.
He had a couple. He had a few bad days.
Yeah, we had a lot of bad
It was a good
days.
competitive horse.
No, it was good.
If
It was a
Scoopo
good
had
horse.
gotten the 8, you probably would want to sell a horse.
No, I've had, I mean, trust me, I've had some bad days too. I've lost
man,
horses.
when
When I
you started off, oh my
started
God.
off, Neil was kicking my butt.
I know,
So I
but
had to
you're
go
more
back,
losing
you know.
horses. Horses
Yeah.
getting damaged. My gosh.
Yeah, I did had a rocky start in and
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It
You
wasn't
have a lot
good.
of
Yeah.
good jockeys here too.
well, yes, we do, and even our jockeys from abroad are Antiguans, the ones that we usually bring in to run. Some of them are Antiguans who race abroad, very good. But we do have a good cadre of jockeys here. I think one of our better ones, Jeff Jacobs, also. I mean, we had
He's still.
Oh no, he's still there, and we have Ruti Khan. We have
top for him,
he's getting some good competition now, so I mean, that's one of the things. So yeah, we do have a good and we're still looking for younger people to train to ride to get to the caliber of Jeff. I mean, we're looking out for those younger people to come out and try and represent and get some training. So from that aspect of it, yes. Things are good. Things are not too bad.
But Jeff, isn't he a little bigger than most jockeys?
In terms of height, but structure.
Structure, body structure, and
Well,
weight.
he's about when we have been racing, he's at about on about 119.
He can drop
Right.
off the pounds easy,
Yeah,
unlike
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Jeff can get himself down to size. We have one of my jockey I usually bring in from St. Croix, Winston.
Yeah, he's antique.
No, while you're on that, when you bring these jockeys in, you have to find accommodation and
Yeah, well, fortunately,
Fortunately for me,
your family.
he has family. He's one of them Oscar Mason. So yeah, plenty family. So Winston comes in for me, and I mean he's glad to be home, and he's glad to be riding, and comes in, and then he goes back down Monday, Tuesday. He hangs out for a while. We had actually introduced a carnival race one year, and he came in, stayed for carnival.
Yeah.
Had a good time. But yeah, we do have, and then most of the jockeys that are there have a lot of experience because they've been around for a long time. They've been there for a long time. They've been racing
Wilkins
for a
still
while.
around.
The young guy Wilkins,
Claire
we still
Wilkins
have
is there.
Rutical,
Jared DeFreitas.
Jared DeFreitas. And these guys
Julian
been riding
Walters.
for 20 years or so. I mean,
Twin
a lot
Brother
of it.
Jacobs.
Yeah, you know, so we you know, I mean,
We need some fresh blood now.
It's a special place. But we're trying to get back up there. And look, if I remember, St. Lucia just started their to
Horse
set
racing
up the
and so
horse
on.
racing down there. That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but they've only had 2 races. That's to show you that horse racing is not an easy
Yeah.
sport to run.
And they had
They have a
one of the
beautiful
biggest
facility. They brought in a lot of horses, but they've only run 2 races.
And look at St. Kitts. St. Kitts
Same
has
thing.
one of the best tracks
in the region.
but they can't get the race
Culture.
culture. See, Antigua people love a
Love
race.
racing.
I know. I mean, and I see a couple of Mondays past there, boy, which would have,
Yes,
know,
yes. With Monday,
yeah.
Labor Day Monday,
Yeah,
Easter Monday.
A lot of Mondays have passed.
Yeah,
New Year's
yeah,
Day,
yeah, yeah. So-
Boxing Day. Remember Boxing Day?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell me something. Couldn't an argument be put up that is not really one of those things that you keep a distance to anyway?
Well,
you know?
Neil and I, we were
Put the
one of the
protocols
first.
together, yeah.
We were one of the first clubs to put out the protocol to the sport ministers about what we're going to do for racing. It's just that we still got to get the track together, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we were way ahead of everybody else because we wanted to get back out there early as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we did that, you know. So they have that our protocol since last.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I'm sure
well,
we
yeah,
have
no,
a
we
protocol,
did
yeah.
the
Get in there, get into be a year, yeah.
Yeah, we did our presentation a long time before everybody even thought about it, because we really wanted to get back out there.
I mean, and I know School Boom would have really
Ah,
would have really applied the
pressure.
social the social distance.
I like that one. I like that one. For sure. He doesn't like anybody close up on the hill.
Yes, he's very fearful of the first lady, but I understand. Very fearful of the first lady.
Tell me now, how would the betting set up? You know, I suspect that maybe individuals will bet on themselves, right? But it doesn't go through the system like
Right now?
like right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right now is more a lot of side betting.
Yeah, no, the side betting is
Yeah.
different.
But
Yeah.
how would you intend to set up that?
Well,
Computerized. It's all about a computerized,
Computerized.
system with the right software and everything.
Who would make the
Odds?
like the ranking?
The odds.
3 to 1.
The odds, that's what you call it.
the odds, yeah.
The odds, yeah. So we would have the same people who are putting together the
Yeah.
software. They're the ones who would be able
Put
to
into-
deal with
look
that
at the odds,
and,
look at
and
your
do the odds
statistics.
and the like.
Look at what you're coming in with and put everything together so that you throw that out there, because that's what everybody's going to look at to make
Yeah.
to decide on the betting. Not the
Exactly.
way you were talking about watching the horses come in and no. You look at the data. To
Yeah,
see
look at the
this
data
thing.
to see what go on.
Go on first
Yeah.
before you go job go bet your body. You see the little Loki has to come in. You know what?
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
And Scumpum was like that. He always walked in
It
low.
was a little.
Yeah, he walking Loki, and nobody want to bet for him. And you know, Neil does have some very pretty horse, and he dressed them up. His colors are red and white, so they look pretty coming out. You know what I mean? So, but then at the end of it all,
I'm very happy with my winning percentage. It's very high. Very, very, very high. Trust me. We won the major races. As, doing it well. Just one of the big races we missed to beat the Triple Crown. That year we really messed up with our jockey, but that's life. Swim stopped us.
put on a social distancing.
Well, actually, I was doing the distancing.
It was the 10
I was doing the distancing.
10 furlong distance. He did the distance running there. We catch him passing. Give him the same length he leading us back. We give him back.
So the track there at Casada Garden, is it it's international?
Distances are international.
International.
Yeah, the distances are consistent with international standard. I think 440 yards makes a furlong. So 8 furlongs makes a mile. So and so that's fine. That's good.
You could go to the horse race and get a maths lesson.
You can get that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually 220 yards is in
You
a
have to know
furlong.
to calculate that.
There are different races, like shorter races.
Yeah, you have 3 furlongs right up to 9.5 furlongs. That's how we do it here. The shortest race we run is about a 3 furlong, and the longest race is a 9.5 furlong. and that 9.5 would be a classic race. That would be one of the major races of the year, the
Okay, so you guys
Government General's
so
Cup.
you guys will know your horses as the one
Who can do distance and who can,
distance
yeah,
and-
correct.
Okay.
All that's a part of the race,
And
and you have to know.
train for the distance.
For that, yeah.
Whatever they say, that's the race you train for
the
that
distance.
distance. So you
Train
have
for
some,
speed or train for stamina?
Yeah, you have some horses that can do that, and that's what this is similar to the Triple Crown. You know, they have the
Yeah.
different distances, and the one horse runs all of that.
All of this is-
So,
yeah.
yeah, but
That's
you
why it's
train-
difficult to win a Triple Crown, because you have different distances, and some horses train
Better.
for speed, and some horses train for distance. So that one horse that's a favorite, he always has competition. Always has some other horses that are specialized in that particular race to try and knock him out. That's why it's difficult to win a Triple Crown. That's why it took so long in the U.S.
Yeah.
for a Triple Crown champion to come.
How does one prepare for a race? You know, when I say prepare for a race, are there things that you give to the horse
Of course.
the day before?
Just like how you prepare. Just like how you prepare for football.
Inside an injection, I get a lot of rest. Make sure I get a lot of rest.
Oh yes, you don't exercise.
I do some
You
stretches.
don't, no tonic. No tonic. No beach therapy.
But if I meet Neil in the goal, right?
What do you mean me to go now?
I could stay at late.
You have to sharpen. You have to sharpen your skills. You have to sharpen your skills. So I think you would probably practicing a lot of shots. If you meet him in the goal, there's a lot of shots you have to practice. You understand?
But I know that there are some coaches who, in preparing for a game, you know, the warm up sometimes knock you out before when the game starts.
Oh, well,
so you have to know
true,
exactly
true,
what you
true.
want to do, you know?
and
True.
the same thing with the horse.
Same thing with horses. You have to balance it.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, I don't, and like I said to you, and I apologize. I have to leave.
Oh, yeah,
Because I'm in another race, as you know.
The human race.
I'm in a human political race,
Oh, yeah.
and my team is waiting on me and say that they're blowing up my phone.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to preparing an athlete for any competition. The horses every morning go to the track 5 days a week. They go through your paces. You work a mile and a half or so. Every morning the horse will work a mile and a half. That's 3 rounds around the track. Before it actually gets into its work, you gotta warm it up. So you walk a nice round, you might jog around, then you do a mile and a half. And then you cool down after doing that work. You go to your stable, you get a nice fresh bath, and they make sure that you cool right
nicely.
down and groom you, and then you send you into your stable. And you go through that. And the intensity of the work gets faster, longer, depending upon the distance. As you get closer to the race, you get faster, sharper, and then you do some mock races. You know, so those kind of situations. So we call fast work. So you might do a 3 or 4 furlong, again depending on the distance, and the horse just building your stamina, building your speed, repetition,
Building the strength.
and of course. While doing that, you got to make sure your horse's nutrition is also right. So you get your vitamins and your minerals. You got to make sure you have salt in your diet, because you know water and stuff like that. So and a lot of horses do beach therapy, especially if you have any little nagging injury. You go and you swim. And the beach is
That's right,
real therapy.
That's right.
So it's very similar to that.
Yeah.
Very
I
similar.
want
to
to
that.
thank you, Neil. I know you have to leave now, right?
Definitely.
But I want to thank you very much for coming and sharing, your stories, and also giving us an update on the association and stuff like that, and the plans that you have for the Untitled Chapter Club. We here at Talking Sports would like to wish you all the very best, Mr. President.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to get to the Casada Gardens
I hope it's Carnival Sunday.
in its new form. In its new form.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic, and thank you
All
for
right.
having me, and I'm sure that Doc will
yes, that's
continue
right.
to.
That's right. Me and Doc will continue.
You'll close out the day.
You close out, yeah.
Close out the day.
As you normally do at Casada Gardens.
Yes. All right, guys. Thanks a whole lot. Thank you for
man.
having
It's
me.
a pleasure.
Very good, man.
See you soon.
All right. We're going to get back to Doc in a minute, but once again, we just want to let our viewers know that Talking Sports has been brought to you with the kind compliments of our platinum sponsor, which is ACB Caribbean, Blue Mountain Water, Cecil Charles Group of Companies, to Seco Pharmacy, and also for Hutchison, the agents for Pine Hill Juices, plumbing and electrical, and also Brand for Less. And to also let you know that the funeral for Cuthbert Ginger David will be held on the 3rd of June at the Moravian Church in Potters, and it starts at 10 a.m. And remember to like us on Facebook and to share. Now, Doc, I know there are things that, while Neil has left us, I know you're not going to talk behind his back about anything.
I would never do such a thing.
Okay. But tell me something. I don't know. For you having these horses, right? How can you tell that this one by its look, or I know you were talking about like from the birth paper. That you would probably know, the origin of and
The
family.
genealogy, yes.
Yeah, the GI, right? But can't you just look at a horse? Can you get a horse without his birth certificate and know it's going to be a horse?
That's going to
Something
win.
to be reckoned with.
That's you know what, it's so funny, it's almost impossible to do so. But again, look, I've seen so many of them look so pretty and huge and big and powerful, and they're the slowest animals around. And I've had we had a horse by the name of, a horse in St. Thomas by the name of Totally Evil, and it was just a small little horse. You would not ever pick that horse to win a race. You will see, just like how you're saying that you see that the horse, you see him and he comes in low-key jokey. When that animal takes off, he leads and he never stops. It's just a fast. So it's a difficult thing to do again, and so we use different skills. You look at the legs, make sure the legs are all good. You look at the chest, the barrel chest, they're big chested. Do they look like they're long-winded? So you look at a couple of things, but even then, you don't know. One of the best thing to do is what we spoke about, was the genealogy, the bloodline. And even then, look, I have a horse that I got from St. Thomas, and got him young. He's 2 years old. Bloodline is fantastic. His brother, which is a year younger, when I was about to purchase him, his brother, just by genealogy, I guess they know what it looked. He went off for $325,000. Never run yet, but it's the brother of the same one I got, and I paid little or nothing for mine. So how did they know the difference? And then again, mine was, its name is Unruly. It's very bad behavior, but he still has the bloodline. He still is good. So we still don't know the potential of that animal, but we know the bloodline. So the best thing you can do is look at the bloodline and make determination that this is going to be a good horse. Okay, so if the sire and the dame are good bloodline, you can pick. But it's hard to really pick out a really good. They come in so many different sizes and shapes, and they look all different. And the ones that you think are not going to be the winners is sometimes are the winners. And Scrumpum was just different. When I got Scrumpum, he had already run a couple of races in St. Thomas and in Tortola. But and they were giving him up, they were like, nah, he done run all the way. But when he got to Antigua, it's just a totally different thing. The animal somehow looked like he loved Antigua.
Was it the surface, do you think?
He loved the surface. And when that takes out, he digs out all the dirt from under him. It's so powerful. He just digs in, and Antigua track is hard, so it has a lot of grip. And but it's the same surface that took him down.
Yeah.
He loved it too much, so he ended up getting some arthritis in the shoulder because he was so powerful and good. But it's hard to do so marvelous, but yeah, it's difficult. So you got to look at a couple little things, the bloodline, everything. But some of the trainers that, like Neil himself, they have the ability to look at some of them and say, I think this might be it. Even your good friend George Lake has some talent with that too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. So your first guide would be bloodline, and then your second would be to look at certain things within the animal.
Has any horse that has run in any big events, horse racing, say the States or wherever, has found its way in Antigua?
Absolutely. All of our horses have run stakes winners. I had one by the name of Bobadilla.
That wasn't the original name.
No, that was not the original name.
Okay.
But that's one Belmont Stakes. Baba Baba, which is the other one. As I told, it was Things brother, Justified, who was a Triple Crown runner 3 years ago. It's his brother, his older brother. And those animals have won stake races. One of the things that happened when we were trying to get the special book together, the stud book, we had to send the names of each animal to the charter in the U.S. And when they looked at the animals that we sent to them, they couldn't believe those are the type of animals we have in Antigua. They're like, this one disappeared. Oh, look at this, look at that. So, and this was one of the big things of what's going to Barbados that year that Neil was talking about with, we had Burns Lines, which is Baba Baba, which is again Justified brother, which comes off of her, I forget the name of the father of both of them. And so the Bajans were like, wow. And then we had another Flying to Honor, had the best bloodline ever. So they were all freaking out about our animals coming into Barbados, and that's why we had a little bit of a time, because the animals were just, the bloodlines were so incredible that they were unbelievable. And Flying to Honor had won all the races he ever ran in Miami. He came first. He ran 5 races. And he came 4 races, and then the animal moved to Antigua. So everybody was waiting for this animal to see what he can do, and that's what some of the problem. But we do have animals with very good bloodline who have won. Remember now, back in the day in Antigua, we used to buy animals with bad feet. So you have a great horse who have won a Kentucky race, a Kentucky Derby, not the Derby, I don't think we've ever had one. But I know one or two of us has run and won Belmont Stakes, and they bring them down because they got injured, their foot was damaged. And so they bring these animals to Antigua, and our guys, little local guys, will doctor their feet. Parker and a couple of these guys, they were very good at salvaging horse feet, and then they would get 1 or 2 races out of them. So our animals in Antigua have some good bloodline, and that's what. So when they looked at the stud book and saw the animals that we had, they were like, wow, I can't believe these are the best horses they've ever seen in a small island, because they never expected this to be so. I mean, Dr. Lake, Westcott, them guys is bringing some very good animals. So yes, we do have some incredible animals here. George lost a few during the COVID, and then they have some excellent bloodline, and they were some good dams. So yeah, we Antigua has it.
Tell me something. Do any like animal loving groups have ever tested like the turf club, or the Neil and these guys who are responsible for horse racing as to cruelty to animal, or
we've not.
Or how do you guys?
These guys love their animals.
Right,
Animal cruelty is not something we see at the racetrack. I remember now. Yeah, these guys.
But while you're on that thought, right? Because they said that the horse is the most beautiful animal, which includes human. Right? They say we are animals too, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at the legs and the muscles on a horse,
amazing creatures. They're so beautiful. And when you have something that looks strong,
how do you cross the line to abuse?
Well, it depends on, and I see again, and this is what I'm getting at for you. People, it's not really a business, because most of the times when you get into business, it becomes abuse, because they want them to win, and they do, and they abuse the animal. Right. Here, it's more of love for race, love for animals. When I brought in Burndines, which is Baba Baba, when he came out of St. Croix, that animal hated everybody. Everybody was kicking up. They couldn't get him on the plane and everything. And once he got to Antigua, the guys who sold me the animal came up here and they couldn't believe. And one of the guys said, that's love. That's love, because the way how my trainer took care of that animal, he became so friendly, loved people, hug up people. You couldn't, but when he was in St. Croix, you couldn't go in his stable. He would kick up and do all kind of thing. Again, it's a big difference in approach and the way how we take care and the love we give to the animals. Remember in Antigua, 365 beach, you carry your horse a beach and he jump in that water and the water feel nice. And they swim well and they love that kind of stuff. Sometimes we give them a piece of candy. Most of these animals, you give them a piece of mint. And they love that. One of the things that are occurring, though, I know that there is a group who in Antigua who sends out on social media the animals that we have here, and people look at them and say, wow, this animal is down here, and they really like to see how the animals look and how they're being taken care of, and they're down here. So for abuse, we don't see that much here.
Right.
One of the things that is occurring, though, is I know some of the younger kids would steal the horses and go ride in and just go away
That's
with
a long
them.
time thing,
Yeah, and they still do that kind of stuff,
yeah,
and that's where you see the abuse. But otherwise,
They turn
in,
jockeys afterwards, eh?
they fast like the wind. Yeah, so but we're not seeing that, and we don't have a lot of abuse on island because people genuinely, the people who are into horse racing,
racing,
genuinely
love
love the
that.
animals. I'm like, look, man, you gotta get up 3-4 o'clock in the morning every morning. You gotta go feed. You gotta go out and get grass. So you have to get somebody who really loves to take care of, and that's where my trainer comes in, Devon Agaro. He's amazing. He loves animals. He lives there, and Dubai Qualis, them boys live in the stable. So I know my horses are getting the love that they need, and they're well
What
taken.
kind of treat you give a horse after it wants something for
A
you?
piece of mint, sometimes an apple,
An apple?
even a blade of grass. They love that.
Just one apple?
Yeah, just give them an apple and they eat. And usually 1 or 2 of them.
Why an apple?
Oh, I don't know. The apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Oh, keep you away?
No, they some of them love the apple, and trust me, they perk up with a treat. So sometimes I have the mint, especially Skumpum. All I do is just shake the paper like that, and he comes up, and you give him a mint, and they love that. Or sometimes in the morning, I'll go up to the track and I'll just take a blade of grass from somewhere and just give to one of my local bred, Zuri. Just give him just that a treat. They love treats. They really do love treats. Yeah, so.
Right. Because I'm saying if I don't know. Like when you watch the Belmont Stakes and what's the other big
Kentucky.
one? Kentucky
The
Derby, and all
Preakness,
this kind of thing, you know. I would think that the after winning millions for a particular owner, right? That he's treated like royalty, you know. Maybe
No, they do.
Yeah?
Look, you should see.
get a nice haircut, cut the mane, and
Look, they have these trailers that are air conditioned, man.
okay, wow.
They drive around in an air conditioned trailer. Even the planes that they fly them around in the back, AC. You know, I mean, look, you're looking at $1 million animal, or a couple $1 million for this animal. That's going to make you millions upon millions. So you know, you look at all these races, the sheiks in Dubai, and those races are millions. Japan have some amazing animals that won like the Asia Cup, and then you go all on to England. You know, we're breeding and raising horses, the Royal Ascot. Your brother always talk about that. He loved that stuff, you know, put on your hat and gone, you know what I mean? But yeah, but they do get some treats. Some of them like even a carrot. You could give them a carrot. They love to nibble on those things. But horses are so special. They love their treats.
Yeah, it's amazing, boy. I tell you, these horses. They love running, innit? That's what they were built for running, innit?
They have some of them just can't get out of it. We sold a horse to a young lady because, I mean, they wanted to get the horse out of running and get him into just to go for track riding and stuff. The lady called me back and said, "Boss, can I ride this horse? And he always want to run.
Yeah,
I said, well, bring it back, let me run him. So now they have to train the animal to reverse back to just little joyride. Beautiful animal, named top class citizen because of how classy this animal looks. That's something you would look at and say, yes, this one here can run. You know what I mean?
But tell me something, when you're transporting these horses, right? What sort of aircraft is those that the army plane like that has a big belly? Or,
there is
how do they transport these horses?
No, there are some smaller planes can take 6 animals.
Small
Look,
planes that like,
when these guys are bringing their animals down from Miami, Amerijet, you build a stall inside their Amerijet, you put your animals in, give them some sedation, you walk them in and you put them in. One stall can take two animals. So if you're bringing down 2, it's cheaper that way. But if you're bringing down 1, you have to pay 1 that will be for the 2. I have what we call the plane that bring my animals over is a 3D short, and it has a big belly. It's a very strong, powerful plane. They use it for cargo shipping, and so that can hold 6 animals. But I usually will take the 2 to Barbados, so we'll have to put them inside of that. But those they go in, and these animals know what they're up to. Now there are barges that will take your animals. It's usually a rough ride. It takes them, like, once you bring them to where you're going on the ocean, it takes a while for them to recover because of all the knockabout. So it's good to just yeah. So it's good to put them on the plane. It's a short ride, an hour ride, 45 minutes, 2 hours. It's an hour and 45 minutes to Barbados from Antigua on the 3D short, very fast, very powerful, strong plane. Bam, and you get them where you're going. So that's another aspect of it. But some people who don't want to deal with the flight will put them on the barge. You can't give them much to eat because they will get stomach will get upset. So you really just give them specific feeds, or even at that point in time, some people just give them the apple and a carrot until they get to where they're going. So for me, at one point in time, I shipped some took 24 hours from Tortola to Antigua. I stripped about 7 of them, so we just give them a little thing because you don't want them. And they do well. Once they get off, now you start to throw the big bucket of food, get them, and they eat them up. But yeah, so different.
And
soap
that's
for them.
okay. They don't, they're like humans. They get gas and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do. They're ruminants, They got that. How much stomach now? About 5 stomach. Yeah, some go around. Yeah, most cows and horses and all that stuff. Ruminating animals. They're always eating all through the night. So it goes. But yeah, but they do well. They do well, and some of them are accustomed to big traveling, and so it's not unusual for them. So.
Right, because I know these planes that they have when we had the Navy base here.
Yeah, big.
I went to Barbados on one, and the seats are at the side, and then there's this whole thing
big opening
in the middle, like they could take a couple of cars and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I was thinking that maybe one of those planes were the ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure they do move animals around in those too, but this one that we usually use, this lady Linda Jackson, she's been in this horse shipping and moving around for the longest while. She's out of Puerto Rico, and she has a 3D shot that she will use to take animals wherever they want to go. Yeah, so. Yeah. But tell me something, Doctor. Tell me some of these, the horse owners or people who are still around now that are dealing with horses. For example, like Dr. Lake, and is Parker still around? Parker is still around. Parker is still the
trainer.
No, he's one of our biggest trainer. He still does a lot of the work up at the track, and he's been very helpful.
How many years has he been?
Yeah, he's been in there for many years, too long. But he's been there with Dr. Lake and them guys, and he's still there all now. He does some training, and he himself goes up there and exercise on the track. So with the animals, actually, I think he's now taking care of Neil's animals and getting them ready. And he has a wealth of experience. I mean, the guy is an amazing because he's been there for so long. So he knows a lot. He knows what to do. He knows how to treat, how to feed, when not to feed, what to do, who the doctor to call. I mean, and this is the way guys like me and Neil will learn from people like Parker. You know, Dr. Lake stepped out of it a while back, and his son, Tall George, is involved, and George's wife, Anne, and we still have Blinds have a son. Blinds been there for a long, long time. His son now takes over doing most of the work on the animals. So we have like a generation from generation to generation.
Like a family.
Yeah, Bully, his son Alex, the Luby guy, he still has his son inside. So we still have, a good relationship. So some of these guys were there with their parents, and they've passed on the knowledge that they have about horses to them. So they are now doing most of the training.
So
I haven't passed on anything to anybody yet.
Not yet. Not yet. But and then he was, he was talking about all the plans and so. With the association and the new Casada Gardens and stuff like that. So I suppose employment for trainers, people who
No, it's gonna be
the opportunities are there for people like that.
It's gonna be an amazing thing. And
do you know, Neil, if the Turf Club is a part of a bigger body like the World Body for? Or is there a world body for us?
And that's what we were talking about. So we have to get the stud book together. Antigua Turf Club has mostly been on itself. We've been trying to get, the Caribbean is not that unified. But for us to get to the international charter, we have to have stud book. We have to have, and that's what we're working toward. So we will get international reputation or representation. We're saying so. We're looking to that so we can get registered and credentialed, so that we can do bigger and better things also. So that's
are there benefits for being a part of this?
Absolutely. The financing. Yeah.
Help you with the track.
With the track, if we need it, you get assistance, definitely for sure. Just like FIFA.
Okay.
Yeah, you go. So so we are trending towards that avenue. We want to make it as good as possible. That's what I'm saying. So what my plan is to start off small. We're going to do all we said we were going to do with the track. Hopefully by the end of June into July, we will have the surface and the rails put into place, so we can at least start racing. And then once we do that, I think that our next move is to do the off-track betting, so that finances can still come back around. Most places, look, like Tortola wanted to do so, but gambling is illegal in Tortola. So the company had gone and wanted to set up, but now they know they can come to Antigua. We can set up something, so we could do the off-track betting. As I say, the money comes not just locally, but internationally. So people will see a race, and people look at the race and say, "Oh, let me look at this animal. This one they might win. Let me put a $5 on that." And that $5 goes in, and it multiplies, and then Antigua will get a little piece out of that. I mean, you look at when you go down to the casino, they have the races on the TV screen. You might see an Antigua race pop up in the middle. And somebody, people are just gambling. They're looking for races and want to gamble. Look at the animals like you want to do and say, okay, I'm going to feel this one, you're going to win. Put some money in that. You put a $5, but if $5 here, 5 in St. Lucia, 5, all the way around, and all that comes back into a pool, Antigua gets some money. You understand? So, and that's what we are looking forward to. So, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. But I would think that that this is, what about sports tourism in that sense? Tell me how big this could be. Because I think there's a lot of people, like people who come and they like golf and they ask where's the golf course, where's the horse bedding, the horse.
And
it could be something big.
No, it is something big. Let me tell you, because one day,
how difficult it is to sell this thing like to the government to tell them, look,
No,
we
they,
need this?
they know.
They
They
know.
know. The tourists in Antigua come to once there's a racing on a Sunday, the taxi drivers bring a bunch of people up there to watch the races. We had 2 years ago, we had a race coming up on the Sunday, and they had some Chinese who were staying at one of the hotels, and about 50 of them came up to the races. So people know, and people, so they ask about these things, and so this is why we're able to be getting funding. Now, when we look at some of the people who are giving us some financial assistance, we're looking at people who are horse owners who live in Antigua have been helping us. We have people who have farms in England that where they're raising animals for races who live in Antigua. And so when they come down, we ask for some donation to help us out. We have about 6 or 7 people, this is where Grant Thornton comes in, who have own horses, who are racing horses, who lives in Antigua, and they want to see the track development. And so those are the people we've been looking for to help us. I mean, getting the rails and the horror and all this stuff was not cheap at all. And we're moving on, but we get assistance from people who own horses, who love horses, as we're here. So the tourists who comes in have a nice place to go to, and that's going to be a part of the whole thing. So if we can get this really to take off to a different level, then, I mean, it's going to be good, because the tourists, look, young Yida has 3 or 4 championship horses in Asia that has won the Asia Cup, you know, so he's an avid horse racing fan. And so we're looking at, once we get things going, these people are going to be coming in because they love horse racing just like our local guys love horse. So they're going to show up. And he has been up to the track to look around and see what we have. And also remember that they were planning to put the track out by where they are now. So I don't know if that is still going to be going on. But again, we're going to have some competition. PLH has just invested in the Barbuda racetrack. They have done the rails, and they've put some sand on the ground, and so Barbuda is a little bit ahead of us right now in terms of getting the horse racing together. I actually just spoke with one of the members looking for funds again to help us with the track, in that Barbuda depends on us to bring our animals down. So if you're gonna do Barbuda, you have to do Antigua, because we got to work together. Of course, you know what I mean. So, but they have already set up an establishment down there, and the track is really, and I'm nice. I went down there the other day to look at the track. It's beautiful. You know, they just now have to put their stands, the stands up, but the rails are in, and they're using the wood. And the ground, the turf itself is nice sand, and so it's a beautiful track right now. Fantastic. So that's going, and that's going to go somewhere. So we need to be ready for that, and then we can collaborate between the 2 islands in terms of racing.
Fantastic.
So things are happening.
Yeah, it look like we're getting to the end of this particular program, and I just want you to take this opportunity now as a parting shot. To appeal to persons again about what you're doing and what you guys are doing in order to make Casada Gardens a better racing venue. Yeah. And so you can use this opportunity just to appeal to persons to assist on how they can assist.
I think that the plans that we have in motion, especially since we know that the track belongs to the people of Antigua, and nobody can take that away from us. It's for the poor people. It was given to us by Papa Bird, and so therefore for each of us as individuals or people, even for you, contributing and trying to help us put this together, it's not just for you, it's for the country, it's for Antigua. We talked a little bit about tourism. We talk about the development, we talk about jockeys, we talk about all these people are going to benefit from what we have. And if we do get to the point where we can do the off-track betting and all that stuff, then it will be even better for us. So we'll have financial assistance to keep making the sport a better sport for the people of Antigua whom the track was given to, and that's the most important factor. I'm appealing to all the different companies, even the sponsors, ACB, Blue Mountain Water, Pine Hill, Hutchison, and to Cecil Charles Group of companies. I think they're already promising some kind of assistance to help us with getting what we need. And again, it's not for me, it's not for Neil, it's for the country. And anything for country is what I always say. I'm a true patriot, and horse racing for country.
Okay, we couldn't say any better at this particular time. We want to thank you, Dr. Twitch, for also coming and talking sports and sharing with us the experiences and getting your bragging rights on field, which was welcome all your winners.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much for coming, and on behalf of our executive producer, Taddy Arundel, and Mark Charles, who's also our technician, along with our corporate sponsors who have made Talking Sports possible, ACB, Caribbean, Blue Mountain Water, Cecil Charles Group of Company, True Seco, and Hutchison, along with electrical and plumbing and Brand for Less. So until next week, Monday, we say bye, and remember to like us and to share. Goodbye until next week.